Theme parks with roller coasters, fun amusements, and flat rides. Most people know theme parks as Disney, Universal, or some small hometown park. However, a big corporation in the 2000s collaborated with a blue talking train you might know. So in this video, we're going to be talking about the history of Six Flags Thomastown. Six Flags is the world's largest amusement park corporation, operating 27 properties. However, that number will most likely decrease over the next few years, seeing how as they already closed Six Flags America. But anyways, getting off track, including theme parks and water parks across North America. For the 2007 season, however, Six Flags collaborated with Hit Entertainment to introduce Thomas-themed areas to across some of their parks, including rides manufactured by Malibu Lemon, part of their park express train ride type. Soon, the parks to get the Six Flags Thomastown were Discovery Kingdom, Six Flags Over Georgia, Six Flags New England, Six Flags Magic Mountain, and finally, Six Flags America. I'm not going to tell you all the parts where all these construction images came from, because I'm not a nerd. I can't do all that. Can't waste my time. I'm already wasting my time making this video right now, so I'm not going to list off all the parks. However, I'm going to do some narration time. Anyways, in 2007, all the Six Flags parks that were debuted to have Thomastown would soon all get construction, most of them trying to pull towards mid-June. However, the most funny one to me is Six Flags America. Look, they just got all the ride engines and vehicles in the freaking grass near Superman Ride of Steel. It's freaking hilarious. I'm sorry, I just got a meme on this for a little bit longer. Superman Ride of Steel goes 73 miles an hour. So at 73 miles an hour, you would see this in the middle of the field grazing. Opening day at Six Flags Thomastown hasn't been really documented. However, there is this one video of Six Flags Thomastown at Magic Mountain, which somebody filmed. So I'll play the footage here. Something I would like to mention is that most of the attractions at the park only featured about 3 to 2 rides. However, as you'll see, one of these parks got a lot more investment than the rest did. Seeing how as Six Flags Discovery Kingdom only had Thomas the Tank Engine, which was a ride, the train ride, Harold the Helicopter, which was the helicopter fly-around ride that Kennywood used to have, and Birdie the Bus, which you would get in Birdie and you would go up in the air and come around. It would be a circle sort of thing. Six Flags New England also had the same with the Thomas the Tank Engine ride, Harold the Helicopter, and Birdie the Bus. However, Six Flags Magic Mountain had a small little Percy roller coaster and the Thomas the Tank Engine ride. Six Flags Over Georgia having the most lackluster of them, with only the Thomas the Tank Engine ride and a Thomastown playground. However, the one that got the most investment to it was Six Flags America, which featured a Sodor Carnival Carousel, a Diesel Derby, a Cranky's Drop Tower, Thomastown Pop Jet Fountain, Bertie the Bus, Thomastown Play Structure, Thomas the Tank Engine, and Harold the Helicopter. And for the trivia portion, a little bit, Six Flags America was the largest Thomastown in America at that point, as Edaville and Thomastown wouldn't come around until the Mattel era. No, we're still only in Hit Entertainment when these parks were made. There's nothing I'm really going to explain here, it's just normal theme park operations, so yeah, it's just kind of boring this section. So let's just move on to the sad end. Yeah, we're ending this video off a little sad. So get your tissues, it's going to be a little sad. In 2010, Six Flags had announced that they would begin to remove several licensed characters, including Thomas and Friends, from their parks, as a cost-cutting measure following the 2009 bankruptcy. Thomastown would subsequently be overhauled into Whistle Stop Park from 2011 to 2013, except for one of them, in specifically Six Flags Discovery Kingdom, which would instead be converted into the nautical-themed Seaside Junction. This would turn all the Thomas characters into non-faceless engines. This would become the shortest run of a Thomas park, only making it to 4 years, from 2007 to 2010. Here's a montage showing the changes between Thomastown and Whistle Stop Park. However, it's weirdly understandable. This is what Thomas looked like when the parks first opened. Model Series, which was the park's very big basis. A lot of the engines and rides were all Model Series based. However, at the end of the park's tenure, it was this, Season 14. A massive difference than when it first started. Now, for the first time in these documentaries, I can actually talk about what happened to the multiple Thomases. So far, we've only talked about one Thomas at both parks. Well, now that video is technically deleted. Anyways, let's get into it. First and foremost, Discovery Kingdom. Discovery Kingdom's Thomas used to look like this before changing over to the seaside theme. This is what Six Flags Magic Mountain's Thomas looked like before, and this is what it looked like afterwards. This is what Six Flags New England Thomas looked like before, and this is what it looked like afterwards. Sorry if this gets repetitive to some, however, this is what Six Flags America Thomas looked like before, and this is what it looked like afterwards. This is what Six Flags Over Georgia's Thomas looked like before, and this is what it looked like afterwards. However, you might notice something about this image. Wait, where's the Whistle Stop Park? Why is Thomas in front of a station? What happened? Well, pandemonium happened. No, seriously, they literally plowed down this whole section of the park to this. Ouch. Everything beyond Navert Station was demolished for a pendulum ride, which makes you go upside down at some point. You swing up, almost like one of those pirate ship rides, and then you go upside down. And seeing Navert Station in this concept image for what it was going to look like is so weird. Seeing the very Thomas and Friends Navert Station with a freaking giant pendulum ride behind it is so hilarious. With another one of these Thomas parks maybe to be demolished, it really makes you think, what is the Thomas fandom remembered about Six Flags? Well, basically nothing. Except if you're in the TWR fandom, and then you know about the Six Flags Cargo Car accessory pack. However, that's it. Six Flags Thomastown is basically forgotten. I mean, most people that went there from 2007 to 2010 probably don't even remember their experience. Probably they were too young enough, or the adults who went there didn't care. So, no one really filmed it that much. You only had like kids. You only had parents with their kids filming. However, it wasn't really that good of footage. That's why I didn't use a lot of footage in this video. So it really just leaves you wondering: is Six Flags Thomastown forgotten? Well, not anymore because of me. Goodbye.
Oh yes, it's great to be an engine and go steaming along, a puff, puff, puffing along, a peep, peep, peeping along. All the people waving as you speed along, a puff, puff, puffing along all day. We're all so proud to be famous engines and travel through the countryside. We're always brave when there's hills to climb. No mountain is too high. Oh yes, it's great to be an engine as you're steaming along, puff, puff, puffing along, beep, beep, beeping along. Fly along the rails as your wheels go round, whiz, whiz, whizzing around all day. It doesn't matter, come rain or shine, there's always things for us to do. And in the cold, cold winter time, we're ready. When you light the fire and stoke the boiler, and we'll be there for you. Oh yes, it's great to be an engine as you're steaming along, puff, puff, puffing along, beep, beep, beeping along. Feel the wind around you as you push along, puff, puff, puffing along all day. Yes, it's great to be an engine and go steaming along, puff, puff, puffing along, beep, beep, beeping along. All the people waving as you speed along, puff, puff, puffing along all day. Oh yes, it's great to be an engine as you're steaming along, puff, puff, puffing along, beep, beep, beeping along. Fly along the rails as your wheels go round, puff, puff, puffing along, beep, beep, puffing and puff, puff, puffing and steam around.